Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is For the Record episode number 4. I am your host, Sunny David, and today with me, I have the very awesome, the very heavy Flood of Mutiny from Vadodara, Gujarat. They have their debut album called Declamation coming out on the 13th of October, and they have two singles out for it already. Well, hey guys,
Hello.
how
Hi,
are y'all?
Sunny.
How are y'all doing?
Hey, Sunny.
We're doing good, man.
Yeah.
Doing good. Thanks for having us.
Alright, guys, I'd like to introduce you all to our audience. So, we have today all four members of the band Rishabh, Akshay, Sri Samarth, and Sankalp. Yeah, so, guys, new album, first album, debut album. I guess you all are excited. Nervous? What? What are the feelings going through you all? What are you thinking at the moment?
Excited more than nervous. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? How long is this all been in the making?
The album, you mean?
Yes, yeah, the album.
Eh, Um, so we started out as a band in 2010,
Right,
and
right,
the album, so to say, I mean, we sat down seriously only after 2015, I guess. I mean, after our release of the demo EP,
right.
which was also called Declamation, but it had only 4 songs. And then we actually sat down seriously, thinking that no, let's do this properly. Let's make it a good album. So let's say around 4.5 or 5 years or so for this album.
Damn, that's actually quite long, honestly speaking. But I suppose all of you all are working currently,
Yeah.
right? So it's interest, and particularly you, Sri Samarth. I believe you're an archaeologist.
Uh-huh.
Are you a researcher in that?
I'm doing my PhD right now.
Right. So it's beyond me how did you all manage everything? Your academics, your work, and your writing and recording the entire album.
Uh, it all actually started when we were school kids. I mean, we were in school. That is when me and Rishabh met, and then that is how we started writing the songs. Writing the first song actually, "Reason to Die," and then that is how we slowly started to write the whole album from thereafter. But
Right.
then, given the circumstances after in our colleges, like Rishabh moved to Jaipur for his college, and me and Glimpse, the old bass player, we stayed here in Baroda. So it was just me sending out samples to Rishabh, and he was there practicing it on drums and writing the parts on the drums. And then he used to come here for his holidays, and that is how we actually sat down and made the song to what it is today.
Right.
But
Right.
it was actually really difficult because we were all in different places and doing different things all
Right.
together. So
Right. So who of you all is the principal songwriter, or is it equal contribution from everyone?
it's sort of an equal contribution in terms of I mean, if you want to know about the lyrics and the first riff which comes out, it's generally I write the riffs
Right.
like a basic idea, and
Right.
then I'll send it to Rishabh, and then he'll make some parts or make some sort of drum fills or some sort of beats, and he'll send me over, and then
Right.
we'll come down and sit together, and then we'll finalize how the song will go. So it's not exactly a principal writer sort of a thing. So it happens in bits and pieces, and then whatever you listen to is all it all comes together in the jam room only, but the lyrics
Right.
come later. It's like that.
Right. Makes sense. Makes
He
sense.
was the primary guitarist for like 6.5, 7 years. So he
Right.
has been coming up with most of the riffs and most of the ideas, most of the structures. And
Right.
yeah, because me and Sankar just joined like 1.5 years ago.
Right.
And so before that, it was like we have been listening to their songs live and headbanging to their songs live. So yeah, for us, it was always easy getting.
Right. Makes sense. Makes sense. So, and who of y'all is the kind of the producer who's good with technology and recording and stuff? Who's that?
I think none of us. Yeah, we'll just go to the studio. I mean, a friend of mine has a studio of
Right.
his own, so we'll
Right.
just go there and just sort of sit down and record everything.
Great. Great. Talking about lyrics, so both of your singles currently, those are Darkness Spills and O Raphael. They have quite the fantastical theme. So, is there is it a concept album, or is it a compilation of ideas with similar themes? What is it?
It is actually a concept album of the things what you're seeing right now around you. I
Right.
mean, it's it's all kind of, it's actually addressing the social issues at the same time, socio-political, socio-cultural, or whatever humanity is going through right now. uh, Sometimes the lack of confidence in your own self, and then trying to move on, all this kind of things, like that is what Raphael is actually telling you. Basically, Raphael, you, as you know, it's an angel, and who
Right.
sort of helps you bring joy and all those things. Yeah, so
Right.
he has basically failed me is kind of the theme of the song. But then if you see the whole album, it starts with the song called Reason to Die, goes into 7 different songs later. So it's kind of a process, and the lyrics are also written in that manner to uh, suit the need of the album and the theme. Actually, it's kind of
Right.
a theme based or a concept based album.
Right. Interesting, interesting. I'm honestly, I've been listening to both those singles on loop for the past 2 weeks ever since we decided to contact her. It's been great, and I'm personally very excited for the album, man. It's. I believe it's going to be pretty phenomenal.
Thanks, man.
Listening to your songs, what do you think? What do you think? Or I'd say, who are your greatest influences for this album, or in music in general in your lives?
A lot of his
Any one of you. I would like everyone to talk on this.
so like we have grown in metal. Like so when I and Shri met, like initially we were a lot into Lamb of God, and so we used to listen to a lot of Lamb of God. That is how we started listening to it. But eventually we got more into Behemoth, Mayhem, Burzum, Opeth. So going to the black metal scene and going to learning what they are playing and exploring more over there. I think for the album itself, like a lot of it is actually inspired by Behemoth. That is how I feel, like at least on my part. And apart from that, since all of like me and Sri both listen to a lot of music apart from our genre, so it's not just that we are listening to metal. We also listen to like different subgenres of metal. Even the newer
Right.
prog, the prog generation, we listen to them as well, and we
Yes.
also listen to artists which are not in the metal scene. So
Right.
the inspiration comes from everywhere. It's not just that okay, this is one source of inspiration, and then you're listening to it, and then you're trying to recreate something which an artist has already done. It's more about like gaining your experiences from different perspectives, and then making your own perspective, and then putting it through. Yeah.
Right.
So a lot of things that you might notice is like the songs in itself, like they do not, um, sound similar in the sense that, yeah, in
Yeah.
the sense that they are not exactly the same thing going on in both the songs, right?
Definitely.
So
Definitely. That's what I noticed, and that's why I wanted to know that, because even in the song, I guess, Darkness Spills, there's this time change that it goes to
yeah,
halftime suddenly, and it's beautiful. Honestly, it's beautiful. So I wanted to know, do you have prog influences that inspire you to make such changes that keep the listener interested, or and it also keeps the playing enjoyable, as I guess.
it's mostly more like all the artists that we listen to, like it's not something which is fixed. So when I'm listening to music, I listen to animals as leaders as well. I listen to Periphery as well, and if you go
Right.
back, then I listen to King Crimson as well. So there is this whole paradigm, of music that we listen to. So it's not something which is like fixed that okay, we just want to do
Yeah.
this, or we just want to create prog music, or we just want to create black metal music, but
It's
it's something which is in between, and it's evolving. So yeah.
Right. So, what about you, Sri Samath? What have your influences been since the beginning?
Um, the Let's say it's been coming since the pop times. Actually, basically, I discovered this whole English kind of music since I was a kid. Uh,
Right.
Maybe when I was in fourth or fifth grade or something like that. Starting from Michael Jackson or ABBA or all sorts of pop music. Later to find out about Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, Anthrax, Testament, and all those. So my
Right.
main what do you say, main kind of a genre or my go-to genre is more like the old school heavy metal to the traditional heavy metal or the thrash metal kind of thing.
Yeah.
uh, Includes Maiden, Priest, Thin Lizzy, Venom, and all those things. uh, and then also black metal at the same time. I mean, I'm very much influenced by or inspired by, so to say, by Burzum, Mayhem, Batushka, Behemoth, uh, um, Cradle of Filth, and all those Demonic Resurrection, Cryptos, all those bands. I just love them, and
Right.
the album is actually sort of all the ideas what I've or what we have actually gathered listening to all these bands all along these years. And
Right.
I'm sure in the early stages it's everybody's Linkin Park and all those mutual bands. Everybody loves that band,
Definitely.
and
They're the
yeah,
holy grail of getting
exactly,
into.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you want me to point out one or two bands, it's kind of difficult, but I can do it. It's Megadeth, Behemoth, and Cryptos at the same time. So
Right.
it's like my main go-to bands or the source of
Right.
inspiration, I would say.
Right. What about you, Akshay? You seem to be a phenomenal player, absolutely phenomenal player. What have your influences been in guitar playing and your musicmanship overall?
So like I have two other bands, and one of them is a proper progressive metal band, and one of them is an alternate blues rock
Right.
band. So
Yeah.
like in the last 5 6 years, I just discovered music and every genre of music to have something for me to learn, which which it's just like any genre, like even hip hop or rap or trap music, any kind of music, you learn something or the other in some way. Like it can be production, it can be sound, it can be anything, small things you learn from every genre. So I would say right now, like all genres, like for me, genres I cannot really say like this or that, but it's more about being a complete musician. And for that, like metal is also a big influence of my life because I started out as a thrash metal guitarist, but then later I branched out into this in the last 5 6 years. But like overall, I would say like yeah, like it's been the same as Shri says. Like we started out with the same bands like Metallica, Lamb of God, Gojira. I would say like Gojira is one of the bands which I really love a lot. Like there's just something about Gojira which I don't know, just something.
Definitely, man. I can definitely relate a lot.
Like every album of there is just I've never heard a bad song. There can never be a bad song from Gojira or Lamb of God. I can say that for sure. There can never be a
Definitely.
bad song. Like Metallica
Right.
has produced some bad songs in the past, but like even Megadeth has
Yeah.
for that matter. So does Anthrax, Slayer. But there are some bands who are just pure
Definitely.
gold.
Pristine. Yeah. Definitely. I can relate to that heavily. But it's interesting talking about how you don't mind other genres because, at least in the metal fan community, I wouldn't necessarily say the metal bands community, but the fan community who are the fans of metal bands, they are quite toxic sometimes. They're quite, you know, gatekeepers about how you need to have good taste in music to even listen to metal, and other genres are trash totally. But I like that you have the approach that you get to learn everything from all genres. It's
We
great.
used to be like that, I would say, but I used to be like that.
Right.
Metal is life, and all other genres suck. But then I realized ki, like
Yeah.
that is I think metal. That is what is metal. Like when any one of you I
Right.
think first heard metal, it was like, wow, what is this? This is some
Yeah, it's liberating. I mean, yeah,
it's
definitely.
liberating. So
So, uh, Sankalp, I see you're very quiet the entire time. Please tell us about yourself. How bass? I mean, I'm a bass player personally, so I'm very excited to know about what your influences are.
I mean, so for as a bass player, my first influence was Jaco Pastorius. Like I'm really influenced by him. Then Snarky Puppy,
Yes,
Michael Lake, you know.
yes,
So then when I started listening to metal, then
right,
I was really influenced by Orion,
right,
Behemoth. So then Slayer, Tom
definitely,
Araya.
yes,
Actually, these are my big influences
Definitely.
for as a bass player, I would say.
Right. Right. Definitely. Great to know. Great to know. So, have you been performing these songs live already for a lot of audiences in your in Vadodara?
Yeah.
Yeah, we performed I performed last year only with
Right,
them
right, right, right. So,
because
how's the reception been for you all? How's the reception for the singles and the songs you have been playing outside been? I mean, it's always a exciting feeling to know what's going on to the people's mind when they're listening to your songs. So, how did you feel was the reception?
It was actually nice to listen to people and say, because they would come up to us and say that it's sounding well. So since we have been playing the whole set um, in the last show that we did, we played the whole set. I think we left out one song from the set. But on a general note, people seem to enjoy it, and we definitely enjoy it while playing, because that is something that has been constant over the years, that we have enjoyed ourselves selves on stage. So yeah, I think that is more important, that we enjoy on the stage, right?
Definitely.
Because then
Right.
we can transfer
That's
that
absolutely
energy.
true.
Then we can transfer that energy to people. Otherwise, it's not that
Definitely.
easy. Yeah.
And it shows that you'll enjoy yourselves a lot. Sri Samarth is an amazing performer, even in the videos for the two singles. Like it's amazing. Everyone's enjoying this. Also, it's great. I guess it also depends on how good the audiences are. In your videos, the audiences are quite into the performance, head banging their way completely, and it's awesome. What all cities do you have you all performed at, except Vadodara, of course?
Jaipur, Delhi.
We've, yeah, we have done. I mean, Jaipur is like our second home, to be honest. We have performed so much there. We
Right,
performed Bombay once, and I think Ahmedabad.
right,
Yeah, that is it. I mean, our main place has been Vadodara and Jaipur. To be very honest, we've
right.
Yeah.
played. I think we have played Jaipur more than we have played Baroda. It seems as of now.
Right. Yeah. It's interesting to know. So I'm from Pune and I've been going to shows in our scene for almost 5 years now. But I have absolutely no idea about the scene in Vadodara. Please, and like, are there any other bands you would like us to check out from your scene? Because it seems to be quite a thriving scene.
There are like 4 5
Yeah, it
bands.
certainly is. Yeah, go on, Akshay.
There's this band Sulphur Snow, which is like Hindi rock music, which is really good. They are really like good people and good friends of ours also. And then there's this band called Tailored Heaven, which is a proper progressive metal band. And then there's this singer songwriter called Shashwat Bulusu. Uh, then there's this instrumental three-piece band called Malakar Experience, which is also a good band. Like, uh, so there are like 4 5 bands in Baroda which are really good, and which have come up in the last 5 6 years. And I would say most of these bands have performed at Plugin, which is the event which Shri and Rishabh curated like 7 8 years ago, and it's still been going on. Yeah. So like they are good bands. You should check them out. Like if you want, we can yeah, you should check these bands out.
That's pretty cool. So, how does you know, how do you all, how the show system works in Vadodara? I mean, because in Pune, Mumbai, there are event organizers known as like there's OML, there's other stuff like that. But with a scene, I mean, in Gujarat, honestly speaking, it's a state, it's a dry state basically, right? So here in Pune and in Mumbai, bands thrive on how many members they can bring into their live shows. So the bar or so the club sells. So how does the economy work with y'all in Vadodara?
Uh, that is an issue actually here, the whole gig scenario. I mean, there are venues. It's not like that there are no venues as such. I mean, some people would tell you that there are no venues, but then at the end of the day, that it all depends on how we, uh, as a local scene. I mean, we'll come down, we'll sit down, and we'll try to chalk out a gig. That is how it works here, basically. So, uh, me and I mean, back in the days, I think in 2013, late 2013, Flood of Mutiny started this event called Plugin, which happens annually. I mean, and this was the seventh plugin which happened recently, right before this whole COVID lockdown and everything. And So we'll basically go around the city and hunt down the venues. I mean, like the disco kind of an area. I mean, a venue, or maybe if there's a nice spot inside the garden or parks, local parks, government parks, something like that. So we'll book that and we'll get the sound and everything and all those sort of things. I mean, that is how it works. And the sponsorship is another issue because nobody's interested in. Why would anybody take interest in hosting a metal show? Is kind of the scenario here. I mean, since Vadodara is a cultural city, just like Pune, everybody is into the classical kind of a thing or the folk kind of the thing, and sort of Bollywood as well. But and then there is no support to rock and roll kind of culture or the metal kind of a culture. But then what we do is we'll just save up our own money for plugin, and then we'll either this time, like we did this time out, we did a crowdfunding kind of an event, and it worked out really good, and the whole production and everything was really good as well. So the venues are such as, so we did a with the recent gig was in an art gallery. So we
Right.
actually talked to the guys there and rented out the art gallery, and that is where we set up the gig and all. Other than that,
Right.
that is the normal venues what we use for the gigs.
Right, man. I mean, it's commendable that you all take so much interest in the scene to develop a community around your interests without there being a lot of payout. Because at least in Pune and Mumbai, there are venues that pay, but here you all are hosting the shows and playing there to grow your community. I mean, it's really, really commendable, and I think you're spearheading the movement quite well. To be honest, that's great.
It's it's
Oh, thank you,
it's
man.
That's
because
great.
like we have grown with that scene, you know. So me and Shri, we used to learn from the same teacher, and his name is Magnus Robert, and he would do a lot of shows. So he would ticket the shows, but he would do a lot of shows because he wanted to play, and that is what we have grown up with. So we have seen him do things. So I have learned a lot of things from him. Have learned how to manage stuff, how to manage people, and what to do, what not to do. Um, so a lot of this actually branched out from what we have learned from him, because ever since, like, especially when I started playing here, I was in eighth when I came to Baroda. So and right after I met him, within a year or so, we formed Product Mutiny. Like by the time I was in ninth. So at that time we didn't know that you will have to go out and manage a gig. We never thought of it that way back then. But we saw him doing it, right? Because he was our teacher. He had his own band. He had his songs. So he would do it, like for him and for his students back then. But eventually he moved out, and the local uh, battle of band events, even they really stopped happening, most of them. So like now there is just one happening, which is MSU University. So MS University's battle of band events. So only that is happening right now. I think the one that used to happen at malls, they have stopped. So now you don't really have a place to play. So initially it was about like you would go to these competitions and you would play there, right? But eventually all these things stopped. Like we never had, we did not have that stage anymore. So like with plugin, it's our initiative, that basically Shri's initiative, that since he founded it, like giving a stage to the bands who have come up in the scene recently, because they need a stage. Everybody needs a stage to start with, and it's I think it's going very well, because we have seen a lot of players start with plugin. We have seen Dune Heart start with plugin. Um, right? So Rushikesh, when he initially had come to Baroda, so I think the first gig that he played was Plugin One, and so even Taylor Him they started with Plugin. Shashwat, as like Akshay said, even he started with Plugin. Um, we always have been connected with Plugin, so we have had that growing audience as well. So I think it works very well, and since we have seen those days when you had to go to the Battle of Bands area, pay money to play your own songs. Uh, since we have seen that, I think plugin comes as a very good alternative to the scene and as a good support to the scene itself. Because now the community is in touch.
Right, right. I mean, this model also seems to be a lot more sustainable for upcoming talent than the commercial scene, to be honest. I mean, I get it. Like, y'all not having great sponsors or event organizers is a harm that you don't have that amount of reach or something like that. But at least to my ears or to what I can imagine uh, from what you just said, it seems as if it's a quite a supporting community, and I think that's a great thing because even if a thing like Battle of Bands gives people a good platform, I've seen people be so envious, so jealous about other bands for no reason. Whereas like the music is art in a sense; it's not a competition, anyways. So I mean, I like how self-sustainable your models are. It's great, actually. It's pretty fascinating to think about.
Yeah, I mean that is how we have structured it to cater to the. So it basically works two way. It's also helping the people to know that this kind of genre exists. So because they'll be bringing other friends of their own who had come to previous, I mean, to any of the previous gigs. So that is one way of getting into the scene and trying to cater to the new audience. And at the same time we'll have new bands who will get stage and gain confidence and sort of go on to make their own albums or EPs or whatever they want to do. So it is working really good in both the ways actually. So that is what we are happy for, I mean, about. And I mean, about the whole scene here. At the same time, it has, I mean, I have seen it grow since 2009. I mean, there are better bands in terms of better music and better instrumental abilities at the same time. And people are also like taking a lot of interest now to know about the band. Like, for example, you are now doing a podcast, or maybe some other person has started to, take go and get an interview of this band or that band, or and all those kind of new initiatives are so good that I mean people really get to know what bands are doing exactly. I mean we are not just hanging out in the jam room and just going and playing our music. I mean it takes a long process that people are now interested in knowing about at the same time. So that whole kind of an evolution has happened now in Baroda. So that is what I'm trying to say, that this whole, I mean, the decade has come really good for the local scene.
Yeah. Do you all have sister cities that have a thriving scene, such as Surat or some Ahmedabad?
Ahmedabad does have a really good scene. I mean, back in the days it was better, but today, as compared to Baroda, they're kind of off. But there is a really good band called Heat Sing, which has just come out from Ahmedabad, and there's yeah, it's like a blues jazz quartet, I suppose. There are four guys, and there's always been a band called Immortal Knights from Ahmedabad, which is like a prog metal kind of a band, and I think they've been going on for more than 15 years or so. It's an old band. Um and yeah, and there are many solo artists who come out of Ahmedabad who are exceptional.
Definitely, definitely. So, I mean, there, to be honest, with our population, India's population, that is, there's exceptional talent all over the place. I mean,
Yes.
there are next level players you see on Instagram every day in competition every day. Why do you think is India not propelling into the international scene? I mean, it's mind-boggling sometimes why our musicians don't get that amount of exposure. What do you think is the reason for that?
think there's a long way for us to go as musicians to where the others are. I'll be honest. We are still not quite there yet when it comes to music. If you see the bands outside, they start at a level which we take 3 or 4 years to come to. So I think that that difference really makes a lot. Like there are exceptions. Obviously, there are exceptions. Like in India, there will be a band which goes like viral internationally, but that has been a problem here that it takes us kind of some time to figure out everything, and because there's no set process, like there's no proper system of operation, like this is what you have to do to get this. Everyone is just like it's a shot in the dark. If it works, it works. And considerable to that thing, I think we have less opportunities here to hit the target if you're shooting in the dark, whereas there are more opportunities to hit the target when you're shooting in the dark over there. So that these small differences, they are the ones which actually, like the gig scene over there, like there is a gated entry system over there which works out for every band, and it's a really nice system which not many people adhere to here, and there are not many venues here like that. But whereas there you go, in every city there would be at least two or one venue where you can perform. So small things like this, I think, is what makes us, coming up there but not quite there yet. I just feel like that.
Mhm.
And when as musicians, yeah, the quality of musicians, I just feel like for example, like you see, right, Shri Sankalp is going to college. Shri is an archaeologist. He's doing his PhD. Rishabh is working in Bangalore right now. So there are people who do music. I've seen felt they do music full time, and that is the only way to do it there. Otherwise, it's really you cannot be doing two jobs at one day. Because like I have a couple of friends who are musicians here, and they went there and they said the same thing. Like if you want to do music here, you need to do it full time because the people around there take it like a job, and we cannot take it like a job because it cannot be sustainable for us.
Right. Right.
Like
S-
yeah,
Do you think
so that's
this? Do you think this is a problem that the Indian family usually has? How? I mean, is it the expectations of our relatives and our parents that uh, makes us kind of uh, reluctant to commit to this whole time? Do you all believe that? Were your parents supportive about all of this?
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
very much,
Absolutely.
very much, very much,
Because
very
they have
much.
seen
Yeah.
us play, right? So they have seen us grow over the years. So like,
And they've also seen the
I think
dedication that we have put in,
yeah,
and we have made no
and
compromise as such in that. So they're really supportive about it.
Definitely. That's
and
great
I
to
think
hear.
that is the first step.
Yeah, that's the first step, definitely. I mean, having supportive parents for this sorts a lot of things out. I
Yes.
mean,
Yeah,
And also, what I think is, since you've asked about the a whole Indian bands reaching out to the international audiences, I think
right,
at the same time, international audience also expects a band coming out of India, like an exotic country, to have that kind of an Indian touch to it. But whereas we don't want to do it.
yeah,
I mean,
right,
not to name, but then everybody knows about Bloodywood. But you see what they've done is they've put in the Indian instruments like a flute or something like that, and they
yes,
got their chance. And but at the same time, if you look at let's say bands like Zignema, Demonic Resurrection, or
yeah,
Cryptos, and all those bands, they stuck to what they wanted to do, and then that is how they got out, and that is how they're like touring internationally. I mean, for example, Cryptos,
right,
they've I think toured with Exodus, Testament, Death Angel. I mean, one of the or probably the biggest thrash metal bands ever.
right,
I think somewhere down the line, what I think is it's better to stick with what you want to do, and then just grind and work hard to get out there. And
right,
the other thing at the same time is that bands really do not know what is the next step, how to get above from where we are right now. So for
right,
that, we also need to sort out a lot of things and reach the right person to take the next step, like a label or a PR agency or some kind of a promoter or a touring agent or some sort of thing.
right. So, how do you suggest like a budding musician reach out to their audience? I mean, uh, I myself am a songwriter. I have my own project known as Road Trip to Andromeda. I write psychedelic rock songs, and that's niche. That's extreme niche, and I don't think your situation is any different. Extreme metal is quite niche. So, how do you go about finding your audience in a pool of what's like a lot of music and a lot of different tastes?
Put out the music there. Like people will somehow get across, I guess, because we have platforms like Apple Music, Spotify, Deezer, and stuff, which cater to when a lot of people use these. Like if you see the demographics, and I think if you're a musician, I think your goal should be to put out original content. Every year is a difficult thing, but regularly, like you need to keep on regularly putting out your own content, and that is the only way to, I think, make it. Otherwise, it's easy to get lost amongst the sea of musicians. You need to be relevant to be in people's minds, and to stay relevant, you need to come out with new content. So that is the only way that I think is the right way to do it, organic way to do it. That would help you in the long term more than just right now.
Right. I mean, being a a person that does most of my everything. Like I write bass, I write drums, I write guitar, and I even produce it. So, do you all think the process gets easier when there's a complete band? Do you think there's a better creative minds that come together to make a better product, or do you all think even single, just one man bands can reach a level that high? What do you all think? I mean, sure, they can reach that level that high, but is it
Yeah.
really, you know, viable in India? As you say that we need to do a job anyways. We can't do this full time. It's just not viable in India. So, what do you think about that? Is having a band a better option if you want to make music?
If you're talking about creativity and if you want perspective, definitely having more numbers like in a band gives you that different perspective. But that does not mean that you can't do it alone. So we have seen bands, we have seen Pliny, for instance. So right, he tours with people, right? But he does all his stuff on his own. So, uh, but then again, he is creative on his own part, right? So, being a creative, if you're working and on something, but you want to explore more, want to have more perspective, definitely having a band is a good thing if you want perspective, external perspective to change and like create something which is freshly new. But that should not limit you from creating something on your own. It's not something that if you don't have a band you can't do it, right? Because if you know how to, then you can. It's just how you do it is upon you, right?
Definitely makes sense. Totally. Talking about direction and perspectives, what direction are you taking Flood of Mutiny next? I mean, what want to, do you all want to explore personally with your subsequent releases? Because I mean, how long has it been? Have you completed this album coming out on the 13th?
We had it was completely done. I think in January, maybe late Feb, around then. I mean, we had finished tracking and everything, and we had just left the studio for mix master and all those technical things. And since then, we actually were planning to get a get out on the road and make a tour possible, at least 3 cities, kind of a leg at once. But then obviously we all know what happened. So that was the basic idea. I mean, so me coming from an old school kind of a thinking and old school heavy metal lover, I just love to be out there and let people know that this is what we are playing. And I think that is the best way of approaching new audiences, is to just go out on the tour and um, enjoy playing your thing. So that is how I like to connect with people. So that was the idea, I mean, post release, but which couldn't happen. And we have actually postponed it to 2021. Let's see what happens then. But then at the same time, I think by the end of 2021, we'll get into the studio again and start recording the second album at the same time.
Second album would be a bit thrash, a bit more mixture of all the metal, I think, to answer your
So
question.
yeah, that's what I wanted to know. So
Ah,
you are going to branch out on your writing styles as well,
it's obviously going to be darker. I mean, darker than
right?
this album. That is for
Yeah.
sure. I mean, what we have written as of now, I mean, we do have ideas for it, and we are still working and building on to like we have around 10 to 12 different kind of ideas chalked out for us, and we'll be obviously reducing it to the finest. And they are I mean, obviously everybody wants their album to be faster, louder, heavier, and all sort of things. But to be really honest, it will be a bit more darker in the sense that it's more black metalish towards the black metal kind of an area, even lyrically at the same time. But yeah, it won't be the fastest album because we down the line are thinking it's not the best thing to always play fast, 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 because we just want to just take it down a bit and then make it more black. And that is what we are, I mean, trying to figure out how will we do it. I mean, that is where we are right now with our ideas.
Yeah. Makes sense. So I believe, talking to you and talking to Rishabh, Akshay's uncle for a long time, you all seem to be more on the musicmanship, side of things than the technicality side of things, or is it the opposite? What would you consider for yourself important while making music or while playing music?
Reality. I mean, we
Right.
all are technically, I would say, like I wouldn't say we are maestros, but I'd say we are somewhere in between of semi-professionals or semi-amateurs, somewhere between there, because we have spent quite some time developing that side of our aspect too. Like for example, Rishabh covers Animals as Leaders, and even I can cover Animals as Leaders, and Shri also has played some periphery songs, and it's like it's not like you don't explore the technicality, because as an individual you need to grow that part. But when it comes to songwriting, I don't think anyone consciously uses that to write songs. It's just more about the flow. You when you write a riff, you just feel that you take in that riff, you see how it feels, and then you go on from that. You don't think, okay, now I'm playing this notes or this scale, so what scale should I play next? I don't think anyone. I don't think that's a good way of writing music, because you lose a feel part, a certain human touch to it. It becomes very mechanical, I feel. So it's not really. I don't know. People have different opinions, obviously, but I feel it's not a good way to write music, being technical too much.
I mean, it's like more or less like what comes naturally to us. I think that is how we are writing. I mean, that is how we wrote the present album, and that is what we'll carry forward again and again till we, I mean, I don't know, till whatever.
Right. Definitely. Makes sense. Makes sense. So, I mean, have you all got to get together post this lockdown, or are you all in different cities still now?
I'm in a different city,
Right.
unfortunately, but Rishabh's uncle
Yeah, we
Kanshri
are in
is in
Baroda,
Delhi.
and Akshay is in Bombay right now.
Right. Right. All right. So, you all have work at those places, or how many of you all are still students and how many of you all are still working?
Sankalp is just 17.
Right. Oh, ni- damn.
Yeah, he's,
That's quite a man. That's great. That's amazing. Cool, man.
yeah,
Right,
Sankalp is
guys,
17.
I'd say thank you for coming on. It's been great talking to you all. You all seem to be quite the introspective and quite the matured kind of musicians, and it's been obviously great talking to you all. Thank you for coming on, and I'd like to wish you all the best for your album. I'm pretty excited for it, so you'll be hearing from me whenever I listen to the album as soon as possible. So all the best for your album, guys.
Thanks, man.
Thank you,
Good
man.
to be
Awesome.
here.
Thank you for having me.
Nice to talk to you.
I hope to see you all soon again, before the next release.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, we would love to be here. Yeah.
So, guys, that was Flood of Mutiny for you all. I had an amazing time talking to them. I hope you all enjoyed the episode and had an amazing time listening to us talk. Please let us know what you think about the episode. Do not forget to subscribe to us on YouTube and Spotify. Follow us on Instagram for daily updates for the next episodes and some more content. And please be good to each other. Have a great day. See you next time. Bye bye.